the room. Did he say to log off?
Hey, Michael.
Hi.
There we go. Okay, so I can make either of you
It
the
didn't.
host.
It didn't boot us out, John.
It did put you out, really?
Nope. No, it did
Yeah,
not.
you need us to leave. I can leave, no problem.
No, it's all good. No, because the settings have like my settings are
No,
reset, so we're good.
we only want Matt to leave.
That seems to be the consensus so far.
I think if Daniel drops in, I don't know if Daniel's going to be here. It's probably lucky that it's
Yeah,
5
yeah.
a.m. or whatever time where he is.
Cage
He's
match.
banned.
Cage match.
Here we go. All right, so Matt, I've made you a co-host, and I'll do the same with you. I can only do Matt. I can't do Jacob. Anyway, Matt, you're a co-host, and then if I start to get a bit funky, I'll switch the full host thing over into someone else. But I think we're good.
Good deal.
Awesome.
I'm like scheduling emails as we.
Oh, that's the secret weapon. When nobody's on defense, Roy's just over here firing off his autoresponders.
Well, yeah, I did a first 24 hours bonus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nice.
So I'm beating the shit out of people today with love. With love, yeah.
John, what is the
Gotta be with
bonus?
love.
What is the bonus for the promoter that sends the most emails while the cart is open? Can we talk about that?
I mean, I think we need a prize for something like that. It's got to be something. Got to be something.
I am not going to try to win that, but
I think Daniel will probably. I think some of the last bundles he sent through 7 or 8 emails on the last day.
well, he probably has like a parallel promo sequence that's like 983 emails deep if you just keep clicking links.
He actually wrote these a year ago and had them
Yeah.
set up right now.
Yeah, probably. There's a whole book.
Man,
Oh.
that would be nuts. Yeah, and next year's Black Friday product is how to do that.
What time? It's still got 5 minutes. You're still early. We got some early
I
people.
know. We do have some folks coming in though. What's your capacity here?
I think we got 1,000 people here capacity.
Okay.
I
Cool.
don't know if we're going to get to 1,000. Oh, my video's not even on. There you go. Turn the video on. Yeah, I think we have room for 1,000 people, just in case.
All right. Well,
And then, John, do you want to allow the participants to raise their hand and speak on video, or are we just going to be logging the chat for any Q&A? What are you feeling?
We can play it by ear. I reckon we can just start with probably questions in the chat. That's one we can talk more about it when it starts. But that was the idea for this. It's very chill. There's not like a script or it's not a sales call or anything like that. We can talk through our products if people want, or they can just ask questions, or we can just talk smack about each other and make jokes. It's really just for people, whoever comes in here, like giving them whatever they need. So if it's a complicated question, we can get them on the mic. If not, they can just ask it in the chat. So yeah.
Did not expect a full beard. All your branding has clean
Yeah, I know.
shaven. So I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's it's a new thing. I just wanted to grow it out a little bit. It's really
Looks good, man.
lazy. Thanks, mate. You got the long hair going.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I promised myself I wouldn't cut it after I got out of the military, and so far so good.
There you go. Samson. That's where your strength comes from.
Yeah, call it that.
How long have you been here? Just a minute? I didn't even know you were here.
I popped it in like a minute ago, yeah.
Just popped in. Beautiful. Well, we can just keep talking, or if we've got a few people in here, Michael, Andrew, Mindy, MK. If you guys have questions, just drop them into the chat, and we'll go from there. Or we'll just keep chatting about. Well, probably around 9. If there's no questions, we can start going through the offer maybe. Hey, Laurie.
Hey guys,
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you all? Everyone's here, ready to go.
Bright and early. Yep.
Right. Well, for you.
It is for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Where are you?
Where is everyone? Let's start with that. Where is everyone calling in from? So if you guys want to just talk about where you are, let's start there.
I'm in
Break the ice.
Arizona. I'm in Arizona
Seattle.
on a horse ranch.
Orange County here, Southern California.
Vegas, baby.
There he is.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Nebraska. I gotta say it like that.
I'm in San Diego.
San Diego. It sounds like mainly America, North America, or the US. Land of the free.
Yes.
I'm in Australia.
You come from the land down under.
Yep, I'm in Australia, the otherwise known as China at the moment.
Right.
So I'm in the country. I'm on a farm with they're growing 4,000 acres and they're growing barley and all kinds of stuff. There's some cattle. So I'm kind of out of all the action.
Oh man.
Rural China, I suppose. Yeah. So what are we at? 9 o'clock. So anyway, we could do like a quick introduction. I'll just explain what the purpose of this call is, and then we can roll with the punches. I'm not seeing any questions at all. If you guys in the everyone else who's a non-copywriting, like non-expert, who's not in this bundle but is here to talk, here for the live stream, basically. Why don't you, if you're up for it, go in the chat and just post as well where you're calling in from. Where in the world are you? If it's from America or Australia or actually a legitimate real China. And we'll go from there. But so the purpose of this call, it's a live stream or a Zoom call, and it's really just to answer any questions that you have about the bundle. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, anything that's holding you back, if you've already bought it and you just want to, I don't know, still just ask questions. It's really here. We're just here for you to help you, make your decision or figure out what you want to do and, all that sort of stuff. So,
Hey, John.
yeah.
John. They shouldn't just say where they're from. They should say who brought them here.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Who's brought you to this call? Yeah.
we got 16 copywriters on this. We got 6 right now on the call, and it would be awesome to know. Kim is awesome. I don't see her here yet, but
I clicked Lori's link.
Awesome.
Laurie, okay.
Yeah, Michael.
We got Norway, US. Oh yeah, Marcus.
Roy, Laurie.
We got Rob Allen that just hopped on with us here. His audio is connecting.
Hey, so John, are we going to answer copywriting questions if people want to ask us that too?
You can answer any
I'm
questions.
down.
As long as you're comfortable, yeah.
Oh, well, hold on now.
Let's set some boundaries here, huh?
You
Ask
can
me
say no,
anything.
but yeah.
DMA.
Ask us anything you want. Yeah. So, and then if we don't get any questions, it's going to be just really silent and awkward. So then we can just talk through what we're offering and why people should get it.
I can do silent and awkward.
Silent and awkward. We could all just do like a 90-minute sitting silence where you stare at the screen.
Yeah. Yes.
That'd be fun and really awkward. Be like a tantra workshop. How many hours of content is in the bundle? Does anyone know the answer to that?
I have over 140 in my subscription. So take everything else and add 140.
Okay.
That's
it'd be a
gonna
lot of
hard
hours.
because some of it's not video, right? So it's kind of how fast you read or like how long would it take you to do the swipes that Matt has, and it's a lot.
Yeah, you'd have to the content, and some people will be reading a bit slower. How long do you spend on each
Yes.
exercise?
Shanti's
Yep.
here.
Here we go. Here, Shanti's here.
Hey guys.
Hello, Rob. Where are you guys calling in from?
Don't
St. Louis.
jump at once.
What?
St. Louis.
Well, St. Louis. Oh, these are no Tom. But sometimes it's hard to figure out who's talking. Mexico. Rob, what about Rob and Shanti? Shanti's off in Canada somewhere, right? On a farm.
Middle of nowhere, BC, Canada.
I like to think of Shanti living on an island somewhere.
I don't live on an island anymore, Rob. I've run away. to
Surrounded
the
with
mountains.
gardens and grizzly bears and all kinds of cool
Yeah.
stuff.
That sounds fantastic.
We saw a mountain lion 2 nights ago.
Oh, really?
Where are you,
Where are
Lori?
you, Lori?
In Arizona, we're on a ranch too, horse ranch, and yeah, right next to our house was a mountain lion. Creepy.
So make sure to get Lori's product because we don't know if it's going to be here very much longer.
Or if you, yeah, it might be worth a lot more money.
So we got a
You guys
question.
need
Well, not
to
really a
join
question.
now.
Dawn's saying everyone should drop their links to their email list into the chat so that she can sign up to everyone. She's only getting offers from five people so far. She wants more offers, more emails.
Yeah, last night all at the same time, I was like, oh, this is all the people, I guess, or not all of them, but a bunch of them, because it's like, it's open.
Yeah. It'd be interesting seeing, because you're going to really see the different styles in everyone's emails if you're on all the different lists. I mean, the easy way to do it would be to just go through the sales page, and then anyone you like, if you like their mugshot, check them out.
Hey, Lori, I have a question.
Yeah.
Your guide to the nuts and bolts of running a successful copywriting business, is that like the 3.5 hour interview with Dan Kennedy, or is that part of it?
That's it.
It is.
Yep.
That is some
Yeah.
good stuff. I got that like way back when it was brand new, and whew, that's good stuff.
I gotta tell you, I was shitty about marketing that. It is absolute gold, and I have
Yes.
and I dusted it off again because it's, and going through it, it's freaking amazing. Justin Goff gave me a testimonial that he increased his fees from 50,000 to 150,000 because of what he read in that product.
Like
It is gold.
my entire like client offer structure has been based on that, and like my understanding of
Right.
contracts is based on that, and then I guess further training from Dan, but like I still think of that as the foundation of like so much that I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
cool.
totally agree. I was really lucky. I can riff on this for a second. Dan actually approached me. We were at a copywriting event in the 2000s, I think 2006. There were 13 of us in a copywriting boot camp, and only 2 of us were copywriters. And so we had lunch with Dan, and he's like, and we're asking him all these questions, and he's like, you guys don't know shit about running a copywriting business. And then a couple months later, his assistant contacted me through fax, of course, and said, Dan
Yes.
would like to speak with you and maybe do a joint venture. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, yes. And so we put it together, and it's not anything that he's told anybody else. So that's, even though it's only 3.5 hours, it's it's pretty
Yeah,
powerful
it's-
stuff.
It's funny, I remembered it as 3.5 hours for whatever reason, like it was so long ago. But it was, I mean, it's gold in terms of contracts and royalties and just copywriting business thinking. Yes.
Thanks.
I
So
started
everybody
reading.
who is on here who has not gotten the bundle, buy it just for that.
It sounds like it's great. Absolutely, just for that.
It's actually, yeah, it's less than what I'm going to sell it for by itself. So yes, that's worth it. Ian and Kim are here. Woot woot. And Bill.
Yeah, I was gonna buy the bundle just for my team. I was like, fuck, there's a lot of, I won't go through it, but there's a ton of good stuff there. So it's like, do I use my own affiliate link? Or do I get someone else's bonus?
What's the protocol here?
Ian, do
well,
you
I mean,
have
it
do you
seems
have the
like-
best bonus? Is the question.
I don't have the best bonus for myself because my bonus is me coaching
Yeah.
people's copy. So I should probably just buy somebody else's bonus if I like theirs enough. Seems like Matt Buckensteady and old Daniel Throssell are having a good bit of fun, huh?
Oh, I haven't heard what's going on.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't.
I love my drama
Just
wine in honor.
I was just reading his email, and
Cheers.
I would argue that I've probably had more of my stuff stolen than most people.
Mm.
I have shit word for word. My emails are out there, like, I mean, everywhere. Like, I'll read stuff, and there's a particular person in our industry who has stolen basically my entire business, and who's out there and then jokes about it to me, and who took my whole promo tab thing, which I was the only one teaching. And I paid the guy who I created the product with, because that's how you're supposed to do business. I gave him free shit. Now he's off doing all this stuff, pretending like he created it all. And then I've seen him do stuff with clients, word for word, not my templates, just stealing. And the thing is I haven't called him out publicly. And he called out somebody else, which was hilarious to me. I'm like, you're talking about thieves, and you're calling people out. But the thing is, my belief is like, just rise above it. People are going to steal your shit. And also, to me, I'm like, I know, Matt, it's a wild little thing, that's going on there.
So I just want to jump in there. We got a question from someone who asked it a few minutes ago, and I think she's waiting for an answer. She's sort of a question. I'd like to know how to get warm and hot leads. So does anyone have anything in their portion of the bundle that's going to help with getting warm and hot leads? I think Lucas has got something on that.
Is this like in terms of clients or copywriter? Like what kind of lead?
I was going to ask the same thing, Kim.
Okay.
If it's like copy clients, or if it's like generating leads for a business, depending on the types of leads. Yeah. God, when I think through the whole, like even just the first stack of stuff, there's got to be like 40 things in there just to generate different types of leads. But if it's copywriter clients, Ian's got a really good way to think about getting clients, especially email specific stuff. I know that he's got like a good way of positioning. My new email masters talks about some strategies to cold outreach, in terms of like getting conversations started with people who are already sending emails, which is kind of a good way to get started. And Lori's thing with Dan is probably going to be.
That's got to be a goal for that.
Like a money drop. Yeah. I can't think off the top of my head because there's too much stuff. I think everyone's like jump in. I know a lot of us have the bug of getting clients.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, we had a guy speak at our event who he runs an agency where they do, a couple $100,000 a month in ad spend for an average client. So, but what they do is he spends about 60 to 90 minutes per reach out. And for all the people I teach, people want to go and spend 3 minutes trying to reach out to somebody. And I was telling them, at least make something personal. If it's just a generic reach out, you will not get a response. If you do, it's pure luck. Like, when having been a copywriter and a business owner, I hire people primarily based on attitude and relentlessness. If they just follow up over and over, I will wait. If somebody hits me up 7 times, it's not because I didn't want to respond or whatever. It's just like, I will respond at that point, just because that's the type of person I want to hire, is somebody who's willing to be relentless and not give up. But the other thing is, like, if that one person's worth $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month, how much time would you be willing to spend reaching out 10 times with different gifts, with physical items, with shit where you could land your perfect dream client? Like, people focus on volume instead of the quality of people. And so I'd say just take more time personalizing reach outs to the right people that you really want to work with, which also then you end up with good clients instead of, shit ones.
All right. And I want to say, like, where to get warm and hot leads. There is no such thing as a warm and hot lead. Like, you make a warm and hot lead. Everything that's been said so far is great, but a warm and hot lead is somebody that already has an existing relationship with you. And so you have to find a way to approach people cold and create a relationship. And what Ian's been saying and what's in the various courses will help with that. But there's not warm and hot leads, like your past clients. That's it for a copywriter.
I think it depends on how you define warm and hot.
Yeah.
But I think for me, 2 things that have always worked significantly better than any kind of cold outreach. And number 1 is referrals. And you'd be surprised how many people who might know somebody who needs a copywriter, so like if you are getting ready to leave your job, or you've recently left a job, let everybody you used to work with know, hey, I'm a copywriter now, do you know anybody who needs a copywriter, right? That would be sort of the most basic level. one of the things you could do, depending on your situation, is work in house for a while at a major direct response company. And then when you go, it's like, Lord, you're going to have so many connections and referrals. I mean, that's kind of what I did. I left after 6 years at a major direct response publisher, and almost 90% of my work, at least that or more, was referrals, from other people. The other big thing that's always worked for me, and I know it's been hard to do, especially the last year or two, is get out to live events. And there's nothing like hanging out in a copy chief live party, like where I met, I think, Ian Stanley, or, I mean, some of you, I know I've had drinks with Lori for sure, but I think that's kind of a warm, hot lead, right? When you're talking to somebody and then someone comes up that knows you mutually and they're like, oh my gosh, you got to meet Kim. She's a great copywriter. And boom, like, it's the easiest thing in the world, right? Or even just not even have someone introduce you, and you don't have to necessarily be at Kim Krause Schwam, but you start talking to somebody and you ask a lot of questions. You use all the Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people strategies, where you show interest in the other person. You ask questions about their business. What's their biggest challenge? What are you doing with now? And then it's like, well, I'm a copywriter. And it's like, boom, we're looking for a copywriter. Let's get your card or whatever. So, those kinds of conversations, if you can do them in person, and I know it's more and more challenging, but to me, that's always been where one event has definitely usually paid for itself at least 5 times over,
The most money I've ever made has been from drinking at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and by going to events where really high level people hang out, but just be a person. Like, I actually won't ask a bunch of stuff necessarily. Like, I'm just going to be friends with this person. If I like them, maybe we'll work together. But the best deals get done when you're at one. It's different, man. When you've been like, oh, I know that guy. Yeah, I watched him throw up out of a cab, and that's not me. That's some other people. Or I carried him up the stairs out of a club in Paris and watched him get put into an ambulance. That's my friend. That's a different relationship. I'm not saying to go that hard. I'm just saying, it's those human relationships you can't replace, especially in today's day and age with everybody doing everything over Zoom. That human contact is so much more important than ever. And somebody who knows you will hire you solely because the amount of people who need help is crazy, but a random reach out is not the same as, oh, I had a drink with that person.
Oh yeah.
Or, you don't have to drink.
But there's also, like, at an event, there's so many opportunities, before you even get to the late night bar situation, just like if there's a lunch serve, go sit at a table where you don't know anybody, or, don't just always sit next to somebody, when you're sitting there in the conference room, and you'll just, you'll strike up so many impromptu conversations, and they can lead to a lot of different, possibilities.
Speaking of live events, I saw that the Copywriter Club IRL is happening in Nashville in March. Rob?
That is correct. That is correct.
That'd be a good one.
Cool to see all of you there. If you want to come hang out with us, and if we can convince her to come over, Dolly Parton, we'll see. I'm kidding about the Dolly Parton part.
I would love to have Dolly Parton.
That would be awesome, but I have a feeling she's not in our budget.
Beautiful. We got another question. What would you say was your biggest game changer in terms of copywriting skills?
I have a quick answer to that. It's super simple too, but I tell everybody that when I copy chief, or just even for myself, I have to remind myself to get out of writer's block. I use a timer. I mean, it's so basic and simple, but instead of just like sitting in front of a blank screen and going, oh my God, I've got to get this done, I will set my timer for 15 minutes and then I will write. Cause I'll do I'll think of anything, vacuum, clean the kitchen, anything before I have to write. But that makes me go, this is my writing time. And it kind of trains your brain to turn on when you've got the timer going. So that's it for me. Just simple. Anybody can do that. And it's powerful.
On that note, I've done a thing where it's like you just write. I won't always use a timer, but if I'm getting stuck, it's just start typing crap, basically. Like, oh, I've got no idea what to write. This is total garbage, and I'm not even going to keep this, but I'm just going to type anyway. And you do that for 100 words or 200 words, and then it's just like you get some kind of momentum, and then it starts flowing, and then you delete all that the bad stuff, and you're in the trenches. It's working now.
Yeah, it's like that bird by bird book, get your shitty first draft done, and then go from there.
Hmm.
But for me, the biggest game changer early on was getting someone else's eyes on my copy, for sure. You know, someone much more experienced. I had a few people who were very generous with their time, like David Deutsch redoing my bullets the first time, or first couple times I wrote a boardroom promo. You know, there was a guy, Don Hotman, who was very famous for writing "Do You Make These Mistakes in Spanish?" Matt, you might have that ad somewhere in your files. And you know, he was reviewing copy, and I always try to send like gift baskets or something, or pay these people, and they just, you know, they've just give me a little help here and there. It was never like a whole 20-page promotion or something, but just, can you look at this thing or run this thing by? And it just was invaluable.
I'm going to hawk something that's part of the bundle, specifically part of BTMS Insiders, the subscription access that you get. So in November 2009, I met Clayton Makepeace for the first time at AWI's boot camp, and his wife, Wendy, at the job fair was handing out a pretty darn good, actually it was a big like 11 by 14 printout of a bunch of checklists from Clayton. And I still have it on my wall. I'm looking over at it right now. And on it, there was a 20-point, pretty darn good copy outline. And it completely changed the way that I wrote copy, because I recognized that it wasn't just about swiping headlines. It was about the deep structure of your messaging, the deep structure behind effective sales copy, especially when you write long copy. And like that completely launched my direct response copywriting career, getting that. And I later told Clayton that. I later taught in part of Clayton's mastermind. I actually taught how I use that. And he said he was even taking notes, and he gave me permission to teach it. And so it is a bonus training inside my High Velocity Copywriting, which is inside the BTMS Insiders training library. It's in the offer that you're getting access to as part of the Black Friday deal. It's the Clayton Makepeace pretty darn good copy outline. And it's, I mean, it was magic to understand that deep structure of effective sales copy.
Does anyone remember Perry Belcher's 21-step system to writing a sales letter? That was kind of a breakthrough for me, in that for me, all I had to do was stop trying to be clever and just be clear. And there was something about his 21-step thing. It wasn't a template, but it was kind of like a checklist, like you were just saying. And it was, I don't know, for me, it just helped kind of uncomplicate things. And I don't know, I found that useful. Although he acknowledges now that that's really not, I won't say it's not a valid way to write copy, but it's, you know, it can be a starting point, and I found it useful.
One of the I had a couple answers that came to my mind when this was asked, because it's kind of hard to say what the biggest game changer was, because I think everybody here who has something in the bundle thinks about things a little differently than looking for the one game changer. I think that, and this is not something that I didn't discover this on my own. This was there it is. So the book Mastery by George Leonard is recommended to me by Harlan Kilstein. I worked with him when I was a young copywriter. He tore my shit to shreds. I'm sorry if I curse here. It was bad. This book illustrates the concept of getting good at a craft and mastering a craft, and the mindset that one has to have in order to continue to get better. And it was fascinating to me to have that, because I think changing your mindset from, okay, I just need to learn one thing, to this is a craft that I'm going to master over time, is potentially the biggest game changer, because that's going to give you the space to treat this like the career that it can be, or the profession it can be, or the skill set that it can be, rather than like a golden ticket, if that makes sense.
Lucas, would you mind dropping the name of that book with the author in the chat?
Yeah.
I'd love to check it out, and I imagine some of the viewers would too.
Yeah, one of the most powerful aspects of it is like he draws a chart of what mastery looks like, and usually it's a flat line, and then it spikes up, like, oh, I'm getting a lot better, and then it goes back down a little bit, like, oh man, I'm not as good as I thought I was, and then a flat line again, and then most people drop out of that next flat line, but then you spike again, and then it drops a bit, and then a flat line, and just kind of keeps going like that. And that to me was like, wow, that's illustrative of exactly what my experience is.
Yeah, that's huge.
I'd like to address the overwhelm question, because it's something I was going to write about to my list, because I think, you know, one of the biggest things when I do coach people at all these days, probably the main thing I do is tell people to stop doing stuff, because everybody wants to do so many things, and there's, you know, realistically the path to greatness is do one thing really, really well and then start getting moderately good at other stuff. Don't try and get good at a bunch of things. It's pretty much impossible. I've looked at all the products, and even I go, fuck, there's a lot of cool stuff here. I know I'm realistic with myself now. I'm not going to go through it, but I can have, you know, I can have somebody on my team go through that stuff. But even then, I've got to say to them, which one's the most important? So what I would challenge everybody here to do who's going to buy it is pick the one course that'll change, that you think is most applicable to you, the thing that has the highest impact on your life at this point. Go through that one first. Do not allow yourself to go through any of the others until you're done with that one. Once you finish that course, do the other stuff. And I also agree with what Rob said. I view it's like it's resources. When I started out in this game, I was buying so many products, and I had a Dropbox full of just courses, and you never know when you're going to want to go through one. But definitely view it as pick one thing to start with, go through that, do the shit in that course, and then move on. Because otherwise, 18 courses, you'll do nothing, you know, instead of doing something. So pick the one, and whatever's most relevant to you in this moment, and then go through the others.
Yeah, Ian, that's really good advice, because if all you do is buy it and go through one course, you'll get your money's worth. Like, there's so much good stuff in there that, you know, if you go through, you know, Kim's LA intensive, or we go through, you know, your email program or whatever, like, you're going to learn way more than $500 worth of stuff that you can then use in your business for years, right? But yeah, as long as you get one thing, you've earned back your investment, and you don't have to worry about the fact that it's still sitting on the shelf, you know, and you're not using it like maybe you planned the day you bought it.
Agreed.
What's cracking?
Dun, dun, dun.
Is that Daniel?
Yeah,
It is.
it's 6:30 and I'm working out 6, so camera's off, and I'm going to stay on mute for most of the time unless anyone asks me anything. But hello.
I think we should have a battle royale. I think we should set up a little pay-per-view. You know, if everybody in Australia wasn't stuck there, we get you guys in a ring. You know, have you go for it properly.
I don't even know what to say.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm here on truce terms for a call. So unless you would like to go into that, I'm completely happy to be here on terms of peace and answer questions.
Cool. We'll keep it with the questions, I think, for now. We'll leave the battle royale for when the borders open.
John, have you shaved in like far out, mate? Did they lock down all the stores there?
Yeah, mate, we've run out of toilet paper, and now we've run out of razors and shaving cream. It's horrible. Well, it's not really that horrible, but yeah, that's why. You know, yeah.
I'm pretty impressed.
What's that?
Pretty good beard. It's a pretty
Thanks,
good beard,
man.
man. I was actually gonna comment on it as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure what to do with it. It's just easy. You don't have to cut your hair on your face every day, you know?
No.
Practical solution. More time for going through this bundle.
Daniel, you got a beard? I guess we don't know, huh?
So I'd say for everybody on this call, you have access to a bunch of very smart people. Why don't you use this opportunity to ask some questions that we will probably never, ever get to do this same thing again ever in history.
Kim's asked the most important question. Do I have a beard? Does it look like I have a beard, Kim?
Yeah, well, I
I
really
can't
want
grow
to
a
know if you
beard.
have, okay, there he is. No,
I
I
can't grow a
don't
beard.
know.
Asian
Doesn't look
genes.
scary. Yeah, so this, I think Daniel raises a great question. We're all here really to answer your questions, and we don't need more drama. I have my wine for that. And I'm drinking drama wine in your honor, Daniel and Matt, so.
Drama.
But yeah, I think we got on a good roll for a while. I'm sure if people have other questions, just shoot them.
I have a question for everyone. If you were a copywriter going through this and you were back at the start, right? You were somewhere earlier in the game. Which product would you start with?
Daniel Russell's.
I think the first.
Oh, what was I on mute? Whoops. I'm just kidding.
I would have done just what I'm hearing about the interview with Dan Kennedy that Lori has. I wish I had discovered Dan Kennedy sooner in my copywriting career. And luckily I've had the chance to hear him speak. I've actually met with him on several occasions, and he's just incredibly brilliant. And, that would just give such a great overview of how to approach freelancing as a business. So I think that would have been a great thing to have early on.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I would
because I actually went through it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Roy's, the 6 months that you get in Roy's program as well, he's just got so many good things about writing, pitching, marketing yourself. There's a lot in there. And so that's another one that'd be a great one to start with.
I'll make a
I'd
shameless
say-
plug here. And also, like, for myself and Ian, if you're brand new, I think thinking about email copywriting specifically, because it's shorter form and easier to get started on, and there's a lot more demand in terms of companies that could use it. So my stuff and Ian's stuff is awesome to start with if you're like right there.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate that. I think if email is going to be the thing to learn, which the great thing about email is you can get paid month after month. Even if you're charging 25 grand for a sales letter, you've got to write another one next year. Or next month, next year. Week
No,
or
it
next
takes
month,
a year
whatever
sometimes.
it is. If it does, that's not good. But with email, you can get paid over and over. It's easier. It's much more fun. You can get good at email in a couple of weeks, whereas writing VSLs, sales letters, is going to take you months at least. But I think hand copying, no matter what, is the most important short, long cut that you can possibly take. In the beginning, no matter what, if you hand copy sales letters or emails, you will get better faster than doing anything else. So if it's long form sales letters that you want to write, I would go through probably Matt has a bunch of ads that you could hand copy, because I know Derek didn't put copy hour into this one. Otherwise, I would go to either my 80/20 course or Derek's daily email income, just because there's the examples to hand copy. So if you hand copy every single day, you will be significantly better. It's impossible not to improve through that practice. So if you're starting out, that'd be my recommendation. Independent of the fact that my course happens to do that, the reason I created that was because I basically wanted to be able to teach people shit if they were horrible and just starting out.
Yeah, I think Ian makes a good point here. The first big step that would really help is decide specifically which type of copywriting you want to get into, right? If it's email copywriting or long form copywriting, and then start to sort the various products based on which fall into those categories. And so if it is email, put all the email copywriting products in a pile, and then start to go through those 5-10 minutes of each to get a feel for what it is, feel into, which one of those speaks to you the loudest, which type of copywriting or email copywriting you really want to dive into. And then, as Ian said earlier, pick one, put everything else in the dive into later pile.
I just want to say two things. One is, if you're interested in long form copy, I agree that studying successful controls and even doing hand copying, because it does cement it into your brain and the kind of flows and the languages and everything, is a great way to start. The Virtual LA Bootcamp Intensive that's in the baseline bundle gives you like an overview of my whole 5-point approach to writing successful long form copy. And if you get the upsell with the copywriting velocity, it really goes deep into writing long form copy. So I really feel that the hand copying is one thing, but you have to kind of understand the concepts and the tactics, why is it this way? Then you can get a lot more out of it. Like, why did they write the close that way? Why is the lead like that? All those things. The second thing I want to say is I totally agree that email copywriting is a great place to start off. Do not try to write a successful long form control is like your first or second thing, or even the fifth or 10th thing you do. It is some of the hardest copy that you'll write. I mean, I wrote nothing but short form copy the first couple of years as a freelancer, even though I left like a major direct response publisher that did the magalogs and everything else. I had to kind of work my way up to that. And it was, you know, just doing the shorter, smaller projects that I learned so much. And now with email copywriting, there's just so many different areas you can specialize in. And yeah, this course, I mean, this bundle, I mean, there's like at least 4 or 5 people here, I think, that all have email copy courses in there that are just, I think, really valuable if you are fairly new to copywriting. That's how you get your foot in the door. I mean, people that I've been mentoring, I'm getting them in with major direct response companies, and some of the you know, if they don't have a lot of experience, it's, you know, can you write an email that drives traffic to a sales page? You know, can you beat our existing control? You know, those can be really some of your first opportunities to start getting some wins and getting new clients.
And one thing I'll say just to add to that email thing is like, I've written a ton of promos where I write it and then the client just like, it kind of disappears into an abyss, even though it's working. And it's because the client has somebody that's just writing emails to drive traffic, drive traffic, drive traffic. And so like, if you're able to approach somebody who is actually doing significant email volume, especially to cold lists where they're renting and they need to keep the creative fresh, if you say, do you have any overflow email copywriting work? Or, you know, do you need any emails written for tests? It's just super easy for them, if they're doing a lot of volume, to just test an email and see if it works. And if it does work, it just brings brand new life to a control. And it makes all the other copy that they have more valuable.
Yeah.
If I can string together a sentence while I'm out of breath. I think you guys are approaching it from a very direct response kind of view, which is absolutely totally right. There is like also the option for people, and I'm not contradicting you at all, but if you start out and you are working with small businesses or people selling courses or something, there's a different avenue where you can attach yourself to a business and you're just writing all their copy. And that's really how I learned a lot, was getting with one business, and I did their emails, I did sales pages, I did Facebook ads, I did everything that the business did. And that did give me a good broad exposure. There's not necessarily a way that's right or wrong, but I do think that's a valid thing, because not everyone's going to start out with a, you know, an Agora or a direct response company. Some people might be working with small businesses doing their email marketing. And in the upsell, I'm not even trying to pitch my product, but I have my Upwork course in there. I got a lot of work on Upwork and did pretty well from it. That's just one way you can do it. So I'm throwing it in there as an alternative. Not saying you're wrong, because I completely agree with everything you said. I'm going to go on mute now because I want to fall over.
Sounds like a tough workout.
Right?
In between sets. I'm sick. I'm sick
your
as well.
cardio sucks, man.
Maybe both.
I would say those are all great points. I would say another alternative is, if your idea of starting out is you're just building your brand and you want to get exposure and you want to get found, and you're not necessarily like pitching, cold pitching, and that's your jam, there's an SEO long form course in there. I think it's Jacobs. Could be wrong.
Yes.
But when I was first starting out, I accidentally did this. So I had like gotten kind of fired from this in-house position. And it was, I wrote this article, and really it was like, I was kind of shitting on the spiritual development industry. And I did not mean to rank for spiritual copywriter, but I did. And so people started, it's like they didn't even read the article. They just started reaching out and hiring me under this guise as spiritual copywriter. And hey, it worked. It got me some clients in the beginning, but really just getting indexed on Google was kind of a big deal at the time. So I think I would look at starting with that one too.
Yeah, just to follow up on that. Early in my career, I ended up ranking for like expert copywriter or professional copywriter or something like that, and then website copywriter, and got to a point where I was getting 30 to 40 leads per month just through Google. And one of the things I noticed was that when people found me through Google, I almost didn't really have to sell them. They just kind of like, it was like I had my authority was, they kind of assumed my authority based on Google saying, hey, this is the first result. And over the years, I've kind of specialized in doing more of that ranking, like long form blog posts for various terms. And if you Google copywriter in California right now, usually most days I'll be the #1 result. So I've kind of specialized in that, and I go through everything I know about ranking long form blog posts in that in the masterclass that is part of this bundle. So if you're interested in going that route to get leads, then that's there.
I want to jump in here. I got another question that's been sitting there for a while from, I think it was Ruth, and it's for Bill. She was saying, let me see if I can find it. I've got the 21-step sales letter. What specifically doesn't work? This is the outline I use with Bill. Bill here? Is Bill gone?
Yeah, I'm here. So what is the question exactly?
I have the, Ruth says, I have the 21-step sales letter. I think it was the Perry Belcher's thing, right? What specifically, I think you might have said something doesn't work, or that's, yeah, she's saying that this is the outline I use.
No, good question. No, I wouldn't say it doesn't work. I would say at a certain point, you don't want to rely on something that's really formulaic, I think is the idea moving forward, that you just can't take, say, a John Capel sales letter and just kind of take out the blocks and put in your own words. And, you know, copy changes as time goes on, and people are getting more jaded now. You just can't write the same sales letter you could 50 years ago. And so I'm suspicious of anything that's a complete checklist or template. They're great. They're very helpful. They're good for getting a start, but you really got to make it you and customize it. And that's the only thing I said about, you know, it's not that it doesn't work anymore, but you got to make sure you make it yours.
100% agree with that. Just want to throw my complete agreement behind what Bill just said. Awesome.
I was going to write an
Same.
abduction story sequence for my autoresponder welcome, so that I could be like Daniel Throssell.
I don't think we want to go there. We had a few other questions come in.
We got one from Marcus saying 1 minute ads. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. What elements would you include in short format?
I guess, I mean, to jump in, and anybody else can jump in here too, because I'm sure we all have some insights, but a 1 minute ad is kind of vague. My assumption is you're talking about video ads, and if video ads, what platform? YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, you know, any of those. So if it,
Facebook
okay,
ads.
so 1 minute Facebook ad, in my opinion, right? Anybody else can jump in here, or in Instagram. So I would view Facebook and Instagram differently because they're different users. They're on there for different reasons, different demographics, all that kind of stuff. And a 1 minute ad is clearly trying to get someone's attention immediately and get them to take some sort of micro action. You're not going to sell anything large unless it's a selling itself, you know? So if you're delivering, you know, if somebody is seeking a boat and you deliver them a 1 minute ad that says, this is your boat, buddy, then maybe that'll convert. But usually you're going to have to do something that's pretty micro action, low friction in that 1 minute. And I would focus very, very hard on the AIDA framework: attention, interest, desire, action, boom, 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 boom. Get that in there in a minute. And then just rinse and repeat with all the different types of creative you can to make sure that the demographic and the message fits with that angle. Hopefully that helps.
Lucas, I want to see someone use that. This is your boat, buddy, as the headline for any ad, because I think that's a great hook. Just imagine if you're selling copywriting course, the ad says, this is your boat, buddy. And they're like, what the flip? I'm sure we could do it.
All right.
I might write an email with that subject line.
This is
I'll
your
see how it
boat.
goes in this campaign. We'll see.
I would say so. I've done a lot of video ads on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, different platforms, and they are all different. So you have to think about, so the first 5 seconds are going to be the most important of any ad, no matter what. But on Facebook, people actually can't hear in the beginning. So a sound or a pattern interrupt of that nature isn't going to work on Facebook because they actually probably haven't heard the first few seconds. So it's not as important. They're going to then click and it's going to start. Instagram, what I would say is you want it to look as much like everybody else's stories. So if you've ever been scrolling through stories and there's an ad that looks like your stories, they're much more likely to keep watching it. If it looks like user generated content, it's normal, it's on your phone. I've been recording literally our best ads just on my phone, just pulling it out, using it in the exact content style of Instagram. So not doing landscape or anything like that. And either in the first 5 seconds, you either want to call out the exact thing that they're interested in, so just clarity, or you need to be unique and different. You need to say something that they haven't heard, or do something ridiculous, or pull in their attention by being contrarian or something. Otherwise, you need to be direct about what it is. Like if your first 5 seconds are, want to become a better email copywriter, that's not interesting, but it's very specific. And now you can be interesting after those first few seconds. But I'd say no matter what, retesting, we just keep testing the first 25 seconds of our YouTube ads. That's all we really like. And literally I'll go out and film one on my phone in 30 seconds and we'll put that in the front and it'll convert better again just because it's new. But just the first 30 seconds, 5 to 30 seconds, you can replace the middle of your ad. You can keep the same middle of your ad forever and same close, just new intros to pull in new people each time.
So to that point about keeping your ad in my backwards Facebook ads copywriting, which is part of the library that you get as part of BTMS Insiders. I used Russell Brunson's hook story offer format, but basically, so hook story offer, what if you write that backwards? The offer is going to be the same for, hundreds of ads. The story can fundamentally be like the last 30 seconds of the ad can fundamentally be the same for mini ads, where you can be testing 3 or 4 different stories. And then you just find, you can do, let's say 5 hooks times 5 stories times 1 offer, and you have 25 different ads. But it really works because you're thinking backwards. You say, this is the offer, this is where I'm trying to get people to go to. What are the core stories that are going to motivate them to go there? And then what are the hooks that are associated with each core story? And it does give you a lot of capability to test. If you just think, what's the hook, what's the story, what's the offer, and send them to a good conversion page.
We got another question here. I want to keep it moving just because the questions keep rolling in. Tom says, he's actually on video right here. Thoughts on AI copywriting software as a tool, not a substitute for research, idea generation. I've heard marketers I trust talk about it as a good tool. What do you guys think?
I can
Why do
jump
you
in
need
here
a
real
copywriter's
quick.
permission?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Lucas.
No, Daniel,
I
it's
don't know
okay.
why people
No,
keep asking this question.
yeah, I get
It's
it a
like,
lot.
why do you need permission?
Yeah. So here's the legitness, and I'll love to hear what Daniel or anybody else says too. Not in this bundle, but in my higher end mentorship program where I'm working with a few copywriters, I'm literally teaching the use of one of these softwares not because I feel like the AI is going to replace copywriters. I feel like in today's world, you need more and more copywriters, and you need them to have effective tools that increase the speed of output. Because if a quality copywriter can come up with good ideas faster, then it's better for everyone involved. They can get paid more per project. If they're working with freelance clients, they can get more output for their in-house clients. And if they're a business owner, they can test more angles. Like Ian was just saying, in his business, he tests angles over and over because of the speed of implementation. Now, he's a master level copywriter, so he can just come up with these ideas. But if someone on his team is using a tool to generate ideas, or if someone on a business owner's team is using an AI to, come up with one hook idea, or maybe a really shitty hook idea, and then you come up with a better one because you saw it as a contrast, these tools are effective at increasing speed and capacity. They're in no way, shape, or form going to replace an actual writer, because the actual writer is the person who's linking that human communication from business to customer. That's my opinion. That's why I'm using them in the training, but I'm not worried at all about them like doing some sort of John Henry replacement thing.
Yeah, thanks for that. And it really wasn't a matter of asking permission per se. It was more trying to understand if it is a valid tool, is part of this bundle. Are there any examples, or is anybody training as you just described? I heard you when you said it's not part of the bundle that you put in, but are people offering up examples of how they're using it as a tool is really what I'm interested in.
John, are you cool if I do like a shameless plug for the software I'm using? No affiliate or whatever, but if I just pick one, you're muted. I'm assuming that's a
Yeah, mate. Yeah, go for it, man. That's what we're here for. Kind of.
Yeah. So the tool that I use is Jarvis, spelled just like the name of the AI. So Kim doesn't like it, but that's the
Gonna
tool.
say Kim loves Jarvis.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not privy to the inside joke. Sorry. Yeah,
Gotta
that's
read
the
her
tool that
email
I
about it.
use, and they've actually got some really good free stuff. Is my point. Like if you go and look at the tools that they've created to use the tool, or the academies that they have, it's really solid in order to get a working knowledge of it.
I'll give my 2 cents. I got to run here in a minute. Anyway, so I'll finish off with this just as a little thing on AI. People always worried about this stuff. For me, it's no computer can ever replicate my unique human experiences. There's no computer that can take 31 years of wild shit and books and movies and different things that I've done that create the thoughts that I have. And it's my thoughts that are the most valuable thing I put out. So my first piece of copy I ever wrote, which I didn't even know it was copy at the time, was about self-defense training I had done, and this book I had read, and this, prison guard. And it sold a dating product, right? So there's no computer that's going to have the same emotional experiences I had, the same traumas, the same mugging, the same shit that I've gone through, the same work ethic or the same desires. Creativity is not the creation of a new thought. It's the combination of different thoughts coming together to make something unique. So no computer can ever replace that part of humanity. I also think if you're early on, fuck computers, rely on yourself. Like, don't use this shit. I don't care. People go, are you worried? Are you worried about the computers? They're going to take over. No, and I'm not worried about it for a single second. The other thing I would do is, just from an idea perspective for hooks and stuff people are talking about, literally look at what everybody's doing and think, what is the exact opposite of that? That's the easiest way to come up with unique shit. When I created my parody characters, people are like, how did you come up with Lai Topaz? And I go, well, I flipped around the letters. That's so creative. I'm like, am I, or did I just flip letters around? Did I just look for the opposite? Ryan Stuman, Cryan Stuman, Grant Cardone. I don't even remember. Grant Cardone, Can't Cardone. Like, just look at the opposite. What is everybody doing? Opening with a Lambo. Okay, so now I've got a video that we haven't tested of me holding a toy Lamborghini. You go just rally against what's happening, or say something different, and suddenly people are paying attention. Just don't be boring. There's no saturated markets. There's only bored markets where people have had the same shit over and over again. So that's my rant. I've got to run here. It was awesome to get to hang out with all you guys. There's a lot of brain power in this room. Everybody buy the bundle. Don't be a sausage. Just get it. Everybody here's like, we're all like worried about promoting it. And I'm like, we're not competing with each other for the people here. Just buy the fucking thing. You're going to be very happy with it. And, use the link with the bonus that supports you best. Is mine great? Absolutely. Are other people's great? Yes. Pick the one that's right for you. If fucking somebody else's bonus is better for you than mine, use their link. Just do the thing that's best for you. Okay. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
See you, mate. All right, we've got another question. We'll keep it moving because the questions are rolling in. Daniel P says, I've heard the money's in the list. Is there a course in this bundle that offers any course on list building? I think Daniel's daughter's here with an answer.
Oh yeah, what was the question? In the bundle, of course, in this building.
Is there a course on list building? Anyone teaching
Well,
people?
see, like this is where we're going outside the bounds of the bundle and say, if you buy from my link, yes, there's a course on this building. But I didn't come here to shill that, so that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, same here. If you go through my link, there's a course on list building with quizzes.
Yeah.
But I won't give too much deep. That's like behind the scenes secret.
It sounds like they want some more information. So Daniel P, who asked this question, wants a little bit more to go on.
Okay, well, I seriously didn't come here to say bye for me instead of anyone else, but I have a course called Email Celebrity. It's about list building for copywriters. It's about 4 principles, not tactics like list swaps or paid ads or anything. It's about 4 principles you can use that will guarantee you will build a good following as a copywriter. Sales pitch done. Email Celebrity, that's what it's called. You get it free if you buy from my link.
How do they get your link if they don't have it? That's probably worth talking about. Is if you want to get these links, you're going to have to go to probably persuasivepage.com.
Go to my homepage.
Yeah,
persuasivepage.com. That is, I put a link on the top of my homepage. You don't even need to sign up.
Easy. And Shanti, you got some more info about yours?
Yeah, so mine isn't necessarily for copywriters. It could be, but it's also for course creators, coaches, consultants, anyone who has an audience that doesn't all fit into the same box. So if you want to give them a more personalized and interactive experience and that lovely dopamine hit that you get when you answer some questions and get a response that feels like someone sees you, that's what I'm teaching in the quick and dirty quiz system. So that's my little bonus beyond the bonuses that are listed on the amazing bundle page.
Yeah, the bonus if people buy through your link. And if they want to get that, they go to shantizack.com. Is there a link there somewhere?
There isn't. Man, I did not get it together to have a pop-up or something, but I I don't know. I don't want to
on your
pop it in
list
the
there.
chat.
Can they get on your
Yes.
list if you're at that? Okay, and then you'll probably send some more emails. So
There you
Yeah,
go.
totally.
Does anyone else have anything on list building?
I've got not a specific email list thing, but in the upgrade. So if you get the secondary bundle, the freelance course that I'm teaching has a way of generating an organic audience on the platforms that you have on the platforms that you want to work from, basically. So if you're trying to work in direct response or internet marketing, usually that's going to be Facebook oriented. If you want to do like e-commerce, there's a lot of YouTube. There's LinkedIn for more professional or B2B. It's not email list specifically, but it is. It's a 3-step methodology of generating a warm audience / like following of people who are in that kind of organic sphere. So if that's something that you gravitate towards, wanting something like that rather than an email list, then that would help a lot.
I'll throw my hat in the ring because I have 140 hours of content in PTMS Insiders that you're getting access to. I was interviewed for an hour and 46 minutes and 1 second by my coach, Joseph Rodriguez, who has a YouTube channel with over 2 million views, just about what he should be doing to build his email list. And that was before his YouTube channel had 2 million views. And I talk about like Daniel was talking about the principles and strategy of list building. So it's not super tactical, like buy this Facebook ad to this, landing page template, opt-in page template, whatever, but the principles of building an email list for any kind of marketing and sales. So yeah, and that's part of the core offer. So yeah, that's there. Lots of good stuff.
All right, we have another question. What do you think about persuasion triggers? I guess they're just any kind of trigger, and cognitive biases. That's sort of an interesting question. Cognitive biases. Is this something you think about when you write?
I don't want to dominate this at all, but in the new email masters that I talk about, the very first module is something that I teach all the people who I teach copywriting. It's called the Big Four. And the Big Four is your target market, their primal psychology, the awareness that you're reaching them, and the sophistication you're reaching them within the marketplace. And I think that is incredibly important to understand who you're talking to and what they're thinking and kind of what their behavior is. So that's part of it. I think I see nodding heads around here because obviously Lori and Kim and Rob and Roy and all these guys know the same thing. Copy at its fundamentals is exactly the same because it's human behavior based. The words you use to communicate are unique to each individual and marketplace, but the fundamental human behavior stuff hasn't changed in 200,000 years or whatever your personal belief is, right? It hasn't changed much.
Where can we get one of those little girls that Daniel has?
Oh, well, that's a talk we'll have to say for when you're a teenager. They come in blue version too.
Oh, both shades. Nice. They're so adorable.
Well, I got another question. Here's an interesting one for copywriters: is what are your thoughts on designs and branding in e-commerce? So it sounds like Bo Feng he says he's confused. He or she is confused when they're working with e-commerce clients.
Oh, yeah, can Bor expand on that question? I'm kind of wondering what is it that's tripping him up with that.
Let's see, he's still here. Bor,
Did you
still
want to
here?
unmute yourself, or maybe he's not able to?
I can speak a little bit to e-commerce. I did copy chiefing for a client that did a lot of e-commerce, and the copy is really short and really directed, really fast. And it's a lot reliant on the visuals. And the copy's almost secondary. It's like they're practically ready to, to buy when they're scrolling through. It's just like, which thing am I going to buy? So it's just got to be really punchy, short copy. And if you want to expand on it more, but that's my understanding of it.
I mean, even with long form copy, design plays such a huge role. When I'm writing something, especially back when I was writing a lot of magalogs, I'm thinking about it from a visual perspective as well. When I'm putting my whole copy draft together, I'm indicating image of something like this goes here. I mean, sometimes even finding some example images. I mean, I leave it to the designer to find just the right one. So I don't know, because I don't write a lot of e-commerce copy, but it could be that some of those tactics, if you're doing a whole website, or you're doing, like I'm working on my whole new website just for myself right now, and I have to think about it in terms of which photos do I want to use and how I write the copy, and there's going to be some copy that needs to be working with this photo or that photo. So I would say think about it in that whole, big picture standpoint of how do the words work with the visuals when you're writing copy.
The other thing is the old rules of direct mail, ugly direct response don't necessarily work depending on the ad platforms that you're using to drive traffic. So Facebook, for example, their compliance people, when they take a peek at your landing page, if it looks like an ugly old direct mail sales letter that Dan Kennedy would have designed, you may fail compliance just for that reason. And so as direct marketers, regardless of what works, we are being forced at least somewhat into prettying up our sales pages just so that they can get traffic. Because if you don't get traffic, it doesn't matter how well it converts. That said, I'm seeing more and more that consumers are just getting, because the individual's ability to create something that looks good is increasing. Consumers are sometimes responding better to something that looks nicer. And, to Lori's point, it may require a lot prettier page in e-commerce versus some kind of like direct response information product. But even direct response information products are better designed now in terms of the sales messages, sales pages.
That's good stuff. We'll keep going. Judy Franks is asking, when starting out, how do you find a mentor? What's the best way to work with a mentor?
I don't mind answering that. There are a lot of people who get coached working in a company, so for example, when I was, just learning how to write copy, and I was never an in-house copywriter, I was a marketer where copy was one of my many hats. Just learning it from giving it to your boss. And this is before track changes, whereas track changes can be pretty traumatic too, but there's nothing like getting back, a piece of paper with red ink all over it, to learn, geez, this is what I need to do better. And as I went along, you know, sometimes there were connections I would make at conferences. I remember going to conferences, and sometimes there would be, hey, you can get Bob Bly to look at your copy or something. And I remember taking advantage of that a few times. And then I personally do offer a mentoring program to copywriters. And I'm just going to do a shameless plug. One of my exclusive bonuses that you can actually get on a call with me and bring in some copy, and I will look at it. So, but yeah, I think any opportunity you can get, especially if you get a more experienced person to look at your copy, is going to help you a lot starting out.
I feel like when you're finding a mentor that it's very personal. It's got to be somebody that you jive with, and because the communication and what you need is unique. So it's like finding a therapist, you know, somebody who's qualified, but also can get you. So it may take a little time. You may have more than one mentor over your lifetime. You should, but it's worth feeling around to find the person you really jive with.
Yeah,
and I do mentoring too.
One note on this, I recently heard from Brian Kurtz, which was, you don't choose your mentor chooses you. And so it's, you know, not everybody is in a position to be like, hey, I would love for Kim Krause-Schwam to be my mentor, right? And so one way to start pursuing that and to test the waters and feel out which mentors feel good for you is to like join their lists, read their books, buy their products, and build a relationship with them in the inbox, right? Even if it starts out by responding to their email saying, hey, this was a really great point. It taught me X, Y, Z, or, hey, I didn't understand this bullet right here. Would you mind, when you get a few minutes, would you mind helping me understand? And so that's another piece of this that can help to bridge that gap between you and the mentor you want, is by building a relationship and connection with them on their own platforms and absorbing the stuff that they're sharing.
Beautiful. Brett Green is saying, should you find a copywriter relevant to your country? It's an interesting question. What do you guys reckon?
So I guess I have two answers to this. The first one I wrote because I get the question a lot from a lot of people. Do you need to be a native English speaker in order to be a copywriter? Essentially, that's the main thing. So if I'm not a native English speaker, if I don't sound native or whatever, am I going to fail as a copywriter? And I think if Daniel's still on here, I don't know if he is, but I think Daniel has a very strong opinion on like how good you have to be as a native speaker. My opinion is that if that's your core question and not like, should I find a copywriter in my country? Then if you're concerned about your native fluency, it matters if you're writing to a native English audience based on the area you are writing to. So Canada, the US, Australia, the UK, any other, you know, primarily English speaking country is going to have a unique way of communicating. I, as an American copywriter, may not sound like a native UK copywriter. And so I may struggle to write to a UK audience if I'm writing something that matters for the UK. If it doesn't matter cross-border, then it won't matter there. So, but I also think that achieving a native fluency is easier than most people think, because you don't need to have a PhD level in the fluency. You need to have a 6th grade reading level in the fluency. So you need to be able to communicate effectively and colloquially in that native language, which is not as difficult as going academic. That's the one answer. The other answer is, this is not a knock on any other countries, but in my experience from what I've seen, because I got like 50% of my people are from overseas in general, most countries that are not either native English primarily or in that kind of like high level economic zone of, you know, like the United States / all that stuff, marketing and direct response and the tactics that you can learn that work because of human psychology work even better, and in some ways are more effective in those marketplaces in their languages, in the native languages. So fitness, I can think of a fitness offer off the top of my head that basically just copy pasted a really like low sophistication, lose fat in this much time kind of offer that wouldn't really fly in the States into Italian, and it demolished that marketplace. It did extremely well. because they're not used to seeing the types of messages and the types of promises. So as a copywriter, you can take a skill set that may be more advanced in native English and turn it into a native language and get more effective results. So short answer, I guess, is if you speak a foreign language and you use direct response, then use it. In your foreign language, you may see incredible results rather than trying to jump into a more sophisticated or more competitive native space.
Yeah, I want to just add, I think I've mentored and trained copywriters who live overseas, and most of the big opportunities still are in the US with US based companies. And ways to overcome perhaps any possible language barriers. One is really become a student of successful copy in that country. And I'm going to just share with you, Rook, I had kind of the opposite experience several years ago when I was writing some copy for the UK market for the first time. And it was definitely challenging because even though it's the same language, they respond to advertising differently. At least this was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, where they're not as used to the big kind of aggressive promises that the US market, they tend to be more skeptical. And so you kind of had to tone some things down, not just from a compliance standpoint, but just for them to be accepting of your messaging. So I would just say you have to kind of get familiar culturally with what that market is used to seeing and responding to, and study that. And the other tip I would give for anybody who is maybe English is not their native language, or even if you are a native English person, but you're just not real good with the details, it's worth it to hire a copy editor, to produce and make sure you're submitting a clean draft of copy to your client. It's going to make you look significantly more professional. And it's just one of the constant gripes I hear from clients is just they hate getting stuff where they're becoming the copy editor. And I know, because I review a lot of people's copy, you get so distracted by that. So, it's just a mark of professionalism to just turn in clean copy. And again, I know people who have lived in America their whole life with college degrees, and they need an editor. So it's not just,
100%.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions? Here we go. What's some of the Bo Schultz says, aside from copywriting, what are some of the top complementary skills you can learn to increase the value you bring to business owners?
understand marketing, understand the big picture, where everything fits together. You can just, and I think we've talked about a lot of things too, like with email marketing, there's so many courses to do a deep dive into email marketing. It's more than just, oh, you might start off writing a few emails. You could end up being a partner where you're running their whole email program, you're getting a revenue share deal. I mean, there's a lot of people, that's a great path for them to grow. So understanding the big picture would be my #1 recommendation.
Yeah, to piggyback that for Kim, especially with email copywriting, there's so many skills that are not too far beyond copywriting. Even the idea of like how to set up a proper automation sequence, or even to give credit to Daniel, like if you were able to understand how to build the architecture of a parallel welcome sequence, and that style of email experience works for your client or yourself or whatever, having the ability to know how that works and the value that mechanics, the mechanics of that specifically works, paired with your ability to write the copy to make it, high converting and quality, little things like that can really help to.
I have to add on to that. That's absolutely agree. Design too, we kind of brought that up before, but design definitely makes a big difference in your copy, in the readability of it. You don't want big chunks of hard to read copy. You want a lot of white space, but not just formatting, but also professional design and images that we're talking about, stopping the scroll on social media. So having a knowledge of how things are going to lay out and the whole big picture visually, how it's going to look is important too.
I would also add the more you can learn about offer construction, because as we all know, it's all about the offer in many ways. And if you can write copy for client, you see that their offer is really missing in a way a key component. The more you can learn about offers, the more valuable you are to them, for sure.
For anybody who's not familiar with Bill, or for anybody who hasn't picked up this bundle yet, his 2 products in here, I've purchased both of them separately in the past. Those are huge, huge assets to have for storytelling, email copywriting, and offer creation. So, Bill, appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks, Matt.
Awesome. What else we got? Someone saying, I'm interested in knowing how you choose the copywriters for this bundle. How I choose all you guys.
Begged.
That's putting me on the spot. Honestly, it's just, you just meet people. Like I did a podcast, and this was something I wanted to mention before. Like one of the main ways I built my business and name in the copywriting, what's sort of my small little corner of the internet, was through a podcast. And I wouldn't suggest it for everyone. It worked really well for me, put me on the map. And it's, if you're able to get on the phone and you can talk and you can think on the fly and things like that, like it'll work for a specific person. It won't work for everyone. But I've met a lot of people through that. And then through those people, you meet more people, and then you meet more people, and they become friends. And like Ian's saying, it's not like I've met probably not everyone in person, but I've met Ian in Austin. We've been out for beers, for example. You just meet people, and then you know people, and then you ask around, and then you might say, I asked Matt, I think it's asked a few people, said, do you know anyone else who'd be interested in this? They might refer a couple of people, and so it just grows. It's not really too much to it. I just go find people who I respect, who are doing really cool stuff in the copywriting space, and see if they're interested. That's pretty much it. Just ask them.
I bribed him.
How about a quick round of applause for John bringing us all together and being able to create one simple offer for one price that allows us to come together and deliver something beautiful to all you guys.
Agreed.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun, actually. I've done a few of these things before, and it's honestly, like, aside from the bundle and the sales and the money, like it's just fun hanging out with people. We've never done a live stream, like a call like this with everyone, but it's like, depends on your probably working situation, but it can be a bit of a lonely path when you're on your own, you're replying to emails, you're sort of doing your own thing. And then it's not very often that you get to come together like this with a bunch of cool people. And there's a lot of jokes, there could be some drama, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's a really good time. So. Who we got? I think everyone's popping off, or we still got questions? Or
I got to pop off, but it was really great to be here. Thanks for, I'm really glad to be part of this bundle. I'm going to just, if anybody wants to become a copy insider, I'm just going to put that in the chat, and you get on my list and get a great, huge checklist for free. So I'm going to run.
Beautiful.
Good to see everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So there is a question there from Bo about becoming an offer owner. See that one?
Yeah,
I just saw that.
Yeah, well, okay, I thought we were going to read it. Well, as a copywriter who eventually wants to become another offer owner, how would you recommend making that transition?
Do you mean by an offer owner, like having your own product?
That's what I think he means. He's like, I'm working as a freelancer. I want to make my own product.
You just make a product, like whatever you're passionate about. What was it? Frank Kern's product was like parrots or something. I mean, there's an audience for everything, no matter, if it's something that there's a newbie audience for everything. I remember John Reese said that there's always a newbie audience. So no matter how much you know about something, other people know less than you. So you can make a product about whatever that is, and then use the skills that you're learning as a copywriter, which is the most valuable skills, as you know, to learn to market yourself. And you've already got that. You don't have to hire a copywriter. So just sit down and get off your butt and make your product.
Yeah, I can speak to this a little bit. I launched Copy Legends in October of last year. And so I've technically only been a copywriter for a year, right? And so this was a byproduct of creating the type of products that I wanted, right? It started with like reading some Claude Hopkins scientific advertising, building a Claude Hopkins collection, and then reading Joe Sugarman. And he talks, one of his triggers is the desire to collect. And that transformed everything for me, because then I was able to, create 24 of these different ad collections, all of these different original copy legends and stuff. And so it started with that. I started building something that I liked, and I knew from coming into the industry a little bit that, there's a lot of focus on these old school guys, and that's where I started learning. And so I was able to create the type of product that I wanted, because I happened to be my ideal prospect, essentially. And that's where it starts. Like, create something also with your reader's ego in mind, right? Not only your own, as in, what can you create that you're really passionate about, but also speaks to the ego of the potential customers that you want to have for your own offer. And so that's a bit of my story.
And I think when I've done stuff like this before and created products, it's the simple way I think about it is you're just solving problems. So like when you work as a copywriter, you're solving the problem of the business doesn't have copy, or they need copy, they need a better copywriter. Selling your own product is the same thing. You're just solving a different problem in a different way. You're selling videos or a course or audio or something like that. It's still basically just solving a problem. So if you think you can solve someone's problem, and pretty much everyone, like Laurie's saying, there's beginners everywhere. So pretty much everyone has the knowledge to solve someone's problem somewhere. So it's really just figuring out what that is and then doing it. You don't really need permission, or there's no milestone that you have to hit before you do it. You don't have to be a freelance copywriter at all before you go and do that.
And to tag onto that, one thing that John does incredibly well is if you don't have your own offer, and if it's something that you're looking to do, a really great place to start, and both he and I have products like this, is the aggregation model, right? It's like, so John created this offer by aggregating all of us copywriters, getting us all to pitch in a little bit, and now he's got an offer. His other product that's included in here, What's Working in Copywriting, that's an aggregation of interviews and bits and pieces from all the different copywriters out there. And so it's not this thing that John had to write a big, thing or like create from scratch. It's his ability to connect people and to aggregate resources that then creates a highly leverageable type of offer that he now owns.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like, so that's like you thinking about solving different problems in different ways. Like there's a lot of just creating value, but you can create value through that way. It creates value for obviously the customers, because the customers, you guys get you get a discount, you get products for a lot cheaper than you would otherwise. But then it creates value for all the experts in here, because without the bundle, they'd be just promoting their own product, which is not going to be as valuable as what the bundle can be. So there's so many different ways to create value, basically. And you can really, there's no rule book or way that it has to be done. You can be super creative. Bye, Roy. We got Prabesh. He's back with maybe he might not have been here earlier with the question about being overwhelmed. What's the course that you'd suggest me so I can start making some money fast? What you guys reckon?
I think you should start by adjusting your expectation of making money right away. It's like, in the most gentle of way, if you're asking that question, it means that you're not in a position to really create something to make money immediately with right now. And so, and I mean that with respect and transparency. So when it comes to choosing, there's a whole suite of really brilliant, beautiful, big products in here: courses, masterclasses, seminars, all sorts of stuff. Start by selecting the category of product that you want to dive into, that you're most interested in. If it's email copywriting, look at all the products that talk about and specialize on email copywriting. And then from there, go through 5, 10, 15 minutes of each one, the first couple pages, the first 20 minutes of the video, and identify which one speaks to you most, right? The type of skill set, exponential income skill that you want to develop. Pick one, put everything else to the side, and for the next week or month or day, like set aside time for that specific product, that product only, whether it's an hour, a day, hour, a week, whatever it may be. Set some time aside and make it one of your your daily or weekly to-dos that you don't have the luxury of having an excuse to skip out on, right? If you're going to invest this money, pick the right product and set that time aside so you can go through it and really absorb the value that it's intended to deliver to.
I love that, Matt. It's sort of like make that slot that would be for a client. That's you. You make yourself important. That's really cool.
I'd probably say to to, if you're thinking about which product to get, it depends on what, like, we don't really know anything about you. So like, what stage are you at? Have you made any money at all so far in copywriting? Like, just like you're solving problems for other people, you're also solving your own problems. So you got to define what is the specific problem that's facing you. Do you know how to write copy, but you don't know how to find clients? Do you not even know how to write copy? In which case you need to focus on copywriting first. If you don't even, maybe procrastination or something like that is a bigger issue. I'm sure Roy has something in his membership on how to set up your to-do list, for example. And there might be other things in the bonuses with people. There's a lot of different things that go into this. So you're really thinking carefully about what's the biggest limiting factor for you at this right now, and then find a product to solve that problem. Don't just pick a random product.
Yeah.
Still got 37 people. So other than us, that's 34 people listening away. We got any more questions, guys? Or are we just we can just talk about random stuff?
Don't go taking it easy on us here. It's time to now that the three real experts are left, you can send over the really hard questions.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Never made any money, but I feel I know email a bit more. Awesome. Who else we got? Any questions? Ask us anything, and we'll probably answer it if it's not too out there.
Why don't we do this? We'll do a little round robin, and each of us three will just pick a name that we can see on our screen, put them on the hot seat, and they can hop on and ask us.
That'd be too much pressure, I recommend. Some people really are camera shy, I reckon. I don't think.
Why don't we just give some tips?
Well, Daniel P's asking, how about info on finding copy clients? So what about that? If you could only, I'll turn that into a bit like a question. If you were starting over again and you had to get a copywriting client within like ASAP, you had no money in the bank, or, you had like bills to pay this week, how would you go and get your first copywriting client? Knowing what you know now, but you don't have any of the relationships that you have, you're a beginner in terms of, all the relationships in your network. What would you do?
Have any of my friends anymore? That's what got me going. I have a great example. There was a kid who wrote me an email this week. And I think Ian was talking something about this, like doing a little research before you like cold outreach. And he sent me the coolest email about, I wrote an email about my horse, and he's like, I really like you, but your horse stole my heart. And then he wrote, like, he sent a picture of the horse, and then he went through my bio, and he's like, oh, you were an actress, and he circled it. Well, I used to do this. And, I was in my, my psychology class, ready to pound my head into a knife on the desk. And then I saw your email, and it was so delightful. And he went through so much time to really research what I've done and to contact me. And his ask was like, hey, if you ever need help with any copy, if you have any overflow copy or anything, I'd love to help you. And I wrote him back because he really went over the top to dig and make me feel important, make me feel like, he really was interested, and that he would do that kind of work for me, for somebody else, if I needed it.
Yeah, that's huge. And while I don't, my background in copywriting does not come from freelance. If I had to survive going forward by landing new clients, it would definitely be along what Lori just said. Ian touched on it earlier, and it's the most important thing is going to be quality over quantity, right? There's so much hype about how can I get these list scraping software so I can send out 20,000 emails a day, and it's like the quality of person that's going to respond to that is not the type of client that you're going to want. And so it's almost the idea of using Russell Brunson or whoever originated the Dream 100, even the Dream 50, the Dream 20. Find 20 of your most ideal customers in the niche that you want, selling the products that you want, and a vertical that you're confident about, and build a relationship with them. Ian was talking about sometimes he doesn't even respond to a prospective client or someone looking for a job until they reach out to him 7 times, right? So make it part of your routine. You've got 25 people that you're going to follow up with every week for the next 12 weeks, right? So the more time that you can spend, the more personalized you can make it, as Lori just shared. That's the stuff that's going to get them to open open your email, read it, and be like, hot damn, okay, this person has just earned either my reply or a quick phone call, whatever it may be.
We got tons of questions coming in. We got 3 more minutes on the clock if we go for the full, if we wrap it up at 90 minutes. Andre says, does wearing a cap or a hat make me a better copywriter? It's probably just a quick
100%.
yes, it does.
Yep.
Pascal says, what are the most common, so probably not, we could be on here all day, I think, answering some of these questions. What are the most common mistakes? Is there anything? Let's do the back end bonuses question. Well, why don't we just go around quickly before we wrap it up, because it's really scheduled for 90 minutes. Nick is saying, could each of you tell what your back end bonuses are? So I'm guessing he means, what are you going to give people if they buy through your link?
Yeah, I can start off. My for the upsell, mine is my Legendary Sales Letters Vault collection, which is 109 old school direct response sales letters, top to bottom. I think there's like 400 pages total, 109 complete sales letters.
That's the upsell, though. I think he's talking about the sign up bonus.
Yeah, the thing, the bonus thing. Like if people buy through your link, what's the bonus that you're offering?
Oh, geez, this is so long. I've partnered with Brian Kirk on his to deliver, ironically, his over deliver collection and stuff. And so there's a physical book, a bunch of old school stuff with Gary Halbert and the Titans of Direct Response event that Brian held in 2014.
Oh, you should sign up through Matt. That's awesome. I'm offering a copy critique. So you'll just send me your copy and I will do it on Camtasia and send it back to you, and it'll rock. I've been doing copy cheaping for the past 2 years a lot. So this is like one of the things I like doing even more than writing copy is helping other copywriters. It's super fun.
Lori, will you drop your the site
The link?
in the chat? Yeah, I'm gonna hop on that right now.
Sweet, dude.
There you go. And then
I'm having a dog fight in my office right now, just so you know, if you hear some barking.
all good, all good.
My puppy's being annoying.
And then what I'm offering is I'm sort of taking a different tack, because I figure that other people are offering a lot of people are offering more courses for the bonus, but I think one problem that people are going to have is this sense of overwhelm and not knowing which one do I start with, how do I get it all done, like it's like correct stuff, and then you end up doing nothing. So what I want to offer people is what I'm calling a quick start Q&A webinar the day after the bundle finishes, which is I think the 1st or 2nd of December. And it'll be a 90-minute call like this, and probably be a fairly nice little small intimate group. And my goal with that is basically to help you figure out which direction, which course is the best one to start with. So instead of offering you more products, I want to give you clarity. And I think that's really, especially if it's not going to probably work for everyone, but if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the products in the bundle, it's probably going to help. And then in addition to that, just for a bit of fun and to add something else in is impact, what I'm calling impact, which I'll donate 5% of your purchase to a charity called Room to Read, which they help the world's most vulnerable children learn to read and write. So you might find you end up funding some future copywriter's dream from some tiny little country somewhere. So that's what you get if you buy through my link.
Yeah, that's huge. That's something that nobody else is doing, and it's only fitting that the one holding us up and making this all possible is the one that delivers the clarity and the impact. Cannot make that up.
Kim is doing something similar. Just to be completely honest with people, I actually read Kim's emails and I was like, she's offering something fairly similar along the same lines, different charity. And then you've got Kim, I guess, offering you clarity instead of me, and there might be some other stuff in there. And so I just tell people to go with the person that resonates with you most, because that's another aspect that no one's really mentioned here is you're not going to vibe with everyone in this group. And if someone who has great information but you don't really vibe or connect with, you're probably not going to do very well with them. As you go with someone else, the information might be different. It's kind of hard to compare. It's like apples to oranges in some ways. I would pick the person that you feel most connected to or most similar to, if it's equal.
Bravo.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. This was super fun.
Yeah, this has been fun. This has been really cool. Thanks, everyone. We're going to wrap it up. What do you got? We'll wrap it up.
Oh, here, John.
What's that?
You are recording this. Are you planning on sending out a replay for this call at all, or?
I think I might just put it on the sales page. I'll upload it to YouTube or whatever, and then we'll put it up as an embed on the sales page so people can just watch it there. It's probably the easiest.
You've thought of everything. It's almost like you've done this before or something.
It's a little bit like that. Yeah. Yeah. One day I'll make a product on how to do bundles.
There it is.
Then we can put it in the next bundle.
Love it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Thank you. Oh, look at that. I love the positive feedback. Look at this.
Ciao for now. Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome. We'll see you on the emails. Get ready to get blasted over the next week.
Coming.
Make a folder just for this so you can keep track of us all. You'll go
Yeah,
crazy.
you'll need it. Yeah. All right. I'm going to end the call now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah.